Hello, everyone. This is Burn.
And this is obviously Rye. You're listening to the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Rye. How are you this lovely afternoon, good sir?
I'm tired. It's been a long day, Dom.
Oh God. No, no John Cena. No John Cena today.
No, not today.
Although John Cena does have a magnificent scowl in the Fast Nine trailer, which apparently I don't know if you saw the news as of late, but it is going into space.
I didn't see it, but I could have told you that.
I
It just seemed
don't.
like that was the next step for those people.
Why? Why though? Why does Fast and Furious need to go into space? This is just lunacy at its finest. I don't get it. What?
Because it
Why?
has to. They have to save not only each other and their family, but the whole world.
This is just basically becoming Armageddon with NOS. That's basically what it is. Might as well call it Fast and Furious 10. Armageddon.
Fast and Furious Armageddon.
Yeah, since Armageddon, just with the 10.
Okay. I'm in. No,
Honestly, if they do make that
no.
as the title, I swear to God, we should get compensated for that in some form or another. Just like I wish I got compensation for the Red Dawn 2012 whatever it was remake with Chris Hemsworth because I called that when I first saw the original that Chris Hemsworth would be a perfect Patrick Swayze replacement.
Yeah, well, the movie wasn't that good, so I
I
guess
never
I
saw
don't
it.
think you have anything to compensate you with.
I mean, I should still get something. Get at least you know part. I should have gotten a casting credit to be honest, a casting director credit. But that's besides the point here. There's been some exciting stuff lately. I mean, again, I know they had the Emmys this recently, and movie theaters. I keep seeing articles for Tenet, even though I haven't seen Tenet, and it's kind of frustrating because there's no movie theater necessarily in my area. I have to travel outwards to go see it. But
hmm
I don't know about you, but there have been some solid trailers coming out. Shall we tell everybody about it?
Some solid Disney Plus trailers.
Yes, 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 yes. No,
Do tell.
yeah, I mean, this upcoming holiday season, it may not be the most. I mean, movies are still getting delayed left and right. So this holiday season will not have a lot of movies as it usually does, just because I know if not the summer with the blockbuster season, the winter usually has some really big awards movies or just movies that are just very anticipated and usually are box office, blockbuster essentially. Like,
Yeah, like more of the Oscar movies in November, October, and then yeah, some roll through like to December. Like a lot of those early movies where they'll come out to limited, screens in December, and then they'll release nationwide in January, just for like their Oscar run, I guess.
yeah, exactly. I like to call those movies my own term, which are money vacuums, just because like with the Star Wars movies especially, and then some of the other there have been a couple superhero movies or not maybe superhero movies, but just big epic movies, the ones that are not as blockbuster esque as the summer ones, if that makes sense, that really release the award during the season. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I guess I would say they're more of the, I guess, artsy blockbusters.
Yeah, blockbusters with more meaning, I suppose, more of like a story and stuff, more acting behind it.
Yeah, like think Blade Runner 2049, that's a movie with a big budget, but it's not really like a summer movie.
No, definitely. Yeah, because that did come out in the winter, right?
Yeah, I believe that came out like towards like the third or fourth quarter of the year when it came out in 2018, I believe.
Yeah, that was a great year of films. But, again, so with
2017, I was wrong.
2017, well, that's still a great year for movies as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
really good year. That was a stacked year.
yeah, it was a great year. So, this year, not a whole lot coming out. I mean, again, Tenet did release. Wonder Woman is slated to come out in on Christmas.
hmm
And unfortunately, also TV will be lacking a little bit. Like some of the shows I was looking forward to were, Falcon and Winter Soldier is like one of the biggest ones, and
Yeah,
that one's most likely coming out next year. I think it is just slated for 2021 when it was supposed to come out next month in October, November, one of those months. It is what it is. I mean, everything going on, productions are picking back up. Like Robert Pattinson just got better from for Batman. So
Yeah.
that production's rolling again, which is good. And we wish them nothing but the best, especially after that great trailer. We want them to deliver the best they
Oh
can.
yeah.
So, but recently the Mandalorian season 2 trailer dropped, which was awesome.
That
And
it.
and WandaVision's trailer just dropped at the Emmys this last weekend, like recently. So how are you feeling? Do you want to talk about Mandalorian first, then we'll talk about WandaVision?
Yeah, let's talk a little Mando.
Okay, well, first off, what did you think of Mandalorian? Like the season 2 trailer?
I'm excited to watch the show. It did its job in teasing me, showing me things. I'm like, ooh, what's that? Ooh, what's that? Like Mando's in on a boat. Mando's like in this like a boxing ring with like people. Like, what is going on here? It looks like the scope of the show is expanding with this second season.
I couldn't agree with you more. I am excited AF. You know, I my when I first saw it earlier this month, I just thought finally I get a glimpse of what we're looking at. And again, you know, it's one of those trailers that delivers just enough to get you excited without revealing too much. And
Yep.
sometimes, and I'm a sucker for trailers. I honestly do stand by the fact that some trailers are better than the movies themselves. Actually, a good majority of the time, movies are better than the trailers themselves, just because they're cut, they're scored really well. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
And
They're designed to get you excited.
absolutely. And I kind of like the shift in the vibe, like the genre feel in this trailer, where the first one we praise it as like a sci-fi western, had a lot of western themes to it. This one from this first trailer, the teaser slash premiere trailer, I definitely felt more of a sci-fi like action adventure, like a much more adventure story than just a western story or like a bounty hunter story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I was getting the vibe of I guess like a road movie. You know, something where you some like the characters are going on this journey and you're just following him as they get from point A to point B. Because now with the end of the last season, they're not running away from the guild that he went against because of what he did when taking care of the child instead of killing it. So now he's not like really on the run from the guild itself. It's now he and the child are on a journey, and we're gonna see them, travel across space together.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely how I would describe it. Like just on the road where it's not running away from something or even hunting something. It's just, and like another version of survival where you're keeping out for yourself, but you're trying to get somewhere specifically. Where in season one, there was definitely more of a vibe of he's on the run, trying to protect himself and the child.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to look over his shoulder. I mean, again, when you're a Mandalorian in Star Wars, essentially you always have to be on the lookout, like what the armorer said in season one. In this life, you are the prey and the predator. I believe. I mean, I'm probably misquoting that, but
But that's
it
the general idea.
yeah, it couldn't be truer in that sense. And what I also loved about it was that I love the beginning of that trailer. Basically, throughout the half the trailer, they use the armor's quote from the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
and basically just saying what this season's about. In which he has the child, and because, like everyone knows, if you've seen Star Wars, he is part of Yoda's species, so he is force sensitive. And now Mando, or AKA Din Djarin, that is his name, right?
Yeah, Din Djarin.
Din Djarin. Okay, I don't know if it's Jin Djarin sometimes. I get that mixed up. They sound too much alike. And it's almost as if he's trying to figure out, do I train this child in the way of the Mandalorian because he is a foundling,
Mm-hmm.
or do I deliver him, and I quote, to a race of enemy sorcerers? And I loved at the just that they finished with "This is the way." I just love the every time they say that in the last season, just because it's that sense of
It's duty.
yeah, like it's like a sense of duty, a sense of honor. Like you have a code to live by,
Yep.
regardless of how you feel about it or what you think. Like once you have that armor, you are part of that clan. Essentially,
Yeah,
you
you have to
that is your
uphold the
life.
values of the Mandalorian and exactly their code.
Yeah, and it got me excited when I heard that. And I also, what I also really liked about it too is that he's definitely changed from the last one, the last season. Like the Mandalorian has changed from being, very detached almost from things. And this season, there's a part in there where he says, "Wherever I go, the child goes," and he really does take the. It looks like he is taking that child everywhere. Where in season one, there would be times he would just leave the child at a ship, or just you wouldn't see that child for most of the episodes, and I thought that's a good change of like character growth for him.
Yeah, like as the episodes progress last season, you can tell he's growing more and more attached to the child. So it's cool to see how that it expands in this new season, or at least in the trailer.
Yeah, again, well, I don't want to spoil anything for everybody, so I won't go too in depth to season one just because there's time to still binge it. It's only 8 episodes long, and they're about like an hour each, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah, a little
They're
bit.
like 30 to like 45 minutes.
30 to an hour, I will say, just to not misquote anybody. But yeah, so they're really easy to binge. And honestly, season one, see this season two, real quick, does begin on October 30th. So again, for those who haven't seen season one, you maybe saw the trailer or you're listening to us and you're interested, check it out on Disney Plus if you haven't. So, but let's get down into our what if segment, aka our predictions, what we think could happen in this from the trailer alone. Shall I throw it over to you? Do you have any questions or anything you think you have from this trailer that we could, do you want to spin about real quick?
I just wanted to comment that I thought that was Ahsoka in the trailer, but it was not.
I did too. So, real quick, I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, if I like a trailer, I try not to look at a lot of breakdown videos or anything like that just because if I like it, I'm sold. I don't need any real explanation. But if I'm unsure on something or I'm a little confused about it, I'll definitely look into stuff just because I would like some clarification to see if this is something I could get behind. Like,
Right.
does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I mean, in our private conversations, I've told you before that as of late, I have been trying to stay away from trailers as much as I can. Maybe I'll check out like the first trailer that they release, usually a teaser trailer, just something like usually it's like the small snippet of the other trailers that continue to come out and give you more and more information, so by the time you get to the movie theater you basically have an idea of what's going to happen in the movie. So just because of that, I've tried to stay away from trailers and like trailer breakdowns. But for this one, I mean, I don't think it really spoiled much. It was hard to get an exact idea of what's going to happen in the story. Just again, they just did a good job of teasing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I will say this: I do watch trailers. Like I said a few minutes ago, I love trailers. I do get a kick out of them, so I do watch every one of them. I'm actually the one who asks you, "Yeah, do you want to watch this with me?" And you're like, "No, I'd rather not get spoiled." And I respect that, but I also just think, if I like it, I'm gonna like it, and then I'll see what happens in the movie. Just I try and just erase what I've seen from the trailers while watching the movie. It doesn't work all the time, but sometimes I do get surprised still. So, um,
Uh-huh.
the only I just want to kind of talk about some of the things I saw in the trailer that made me think, like, where is the story leading? And right now, a good portion of it showed a lot of Tatooine. Luke Skywalker's planet, and he does visit that planet at one point in the last season. And I don't know about you, but I am getting the vibe that that's going to be a good portion of the season. What are you thinking?
Tatooine. I mean, really? I mean, from the trailer, it looked like it, but from a lot of the images it showed, it seems like it's taking place on this water slash snow planet. That's what I got the vibe from. It looked very different from the first season, which spent a little bit more time in like deserty areas, and it seemed like just visually it looked a lot different than what we saw in the first season.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, again, this is a teaser trailer, so they probably will release another trailer before the show comes out just to maybe get that last push of getting people to purchase the app or something like that. Just get people more interested in the show. But yeah, there was that ice planet, that water ice planet that we did see. But again, I felt like there was a lot going to happen on Tatooine, especially because Tamara Morrison from Aquaman and the episode 2 Attack of the Clones and episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. He is confirmed to come back as Captain Rex from the Clone Wars series, as well as Boba Fett. And I didn't realize it in season one, but that one of the episodes with Ming-Na Wen from Mulan, I guess the figure that walks towards her at the end of one of the episodes is supposed to be Boba Fett's shoes, and I never I thought it was somebody completely different, but I looked that up just to find out.
Oh
And
wow.
right,
I had no idea that that was supposed to be Boba Fett.
I guess so. I just saw one article talking about how it's like his iconic spurs, and I thought he has iconic spurs. It's Boba Fett. All I really think about is like waist up or knees up because he has like a little not poncho, but like his kilt thing or cape at the bottom. I don't remember, but so I didn't think about that. But that would make sense that because the episode did happen on Tatooine, and Boba's last place of confirmation in the movies slash series was on Tatooine himself. So
Yeah, where he supposedly died in the Sarlacc pit.
exactly. So that's why I'm getting the vibe that it's going to happen a lot there, and there are supposed to be like some of the other casting, like oh my god, the guy from Aliens and Tombstone, Johnny Ringo, Michael Bean, Michael.
Michael Biehn.
Is that how you say? Okay, yeah. Michael Bean is supposed to be in this series. Timothy Olyphant is supposed to premiere as well. So I don't know. That's why I'm getting that vibe. The ice planet. What I'm guessing right now is that's a planet where, if you remember from Clone Wars, the season where the younglings go to the Kyber temple and they get to choose. They find their Kyber crystal for their lightsabers. I think that's where that's supposed to be. Or
Oh, that's a good prediction. I'm curious.
it's either that one or the planet where Ahsoka and Rex end up crashing on. I haven't seen Star Wars Rebels. I did just start watching that just to kind of get into it because of the casting rumors, like Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan. She was a Clone Wars character,
Yeah.
but Sabine Wren, I forgot who's playing her this season, who's cast as her. But
They're speculating that it was the character that we saw in this trailer, the character played by Sasha Banks.
yes, now, like I said, for the Ice Planet, that's my guess. But for Sasha Banks's characters, it's one of three things. One, she is another bounty hunter or someone working with Ahsoka or somebody, maybe even in the Empire, who are the less like Moff Gideon. She could be related to Moff Gideon somehow, keeping an eye on the child and Mando because they're at that ports or something like that. Like he's taking a ship somewhere, I don't know where,
Mm-hmm.
and you know she's just in that all black robe. All you see is her face, which is a little orange. So I got the vibe that she could be an alien.
Yeah, and that's why I thought she was Ahsoka because of the
I did
orange too.
too.
So I was like, oh, that's Ahsoka in her like Jedi cloak. But apparently, no, it wasn't. It was Sasha Banks. So, because Rosario Dawson, if I remember correctly, she's playing older Ahsoka, right?
I mean, I thought it was Rosario Dawson in all honesty because they look a lot alike. But yeah, after looking that up or seeing articles about it, my curiosity got the best of me. And yes, so Sasha Banks is that character, WWE star, and there is no confirmation of who she is yet. So I'm saying she's either like a bounty hunter or something working for Moff Gideon, maybe Jedi because Ahsoka, she may not have been a master, but she was a Jedi at one point. So maybe she found someone else to maybe take under her wing to pass on her ways of the Force. You never know.
Right.
And then my last one is what if she's a Sith? Because
Oh,
again,
you think maybe she could be like an Imperator?
maybe an Inquisitor. I think Imperial.
Inquisitor, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, an Imperial Inquisitor. Maybe I. It's hard to tell, but the Inquisitors did wear black as well. So, but then at the same time, there's that argument. Well, Luke Skywalker wore all black in Return of the Jedi, which did this show does take place almost a decade after that. So,
Hmm.
it's it's such a tough thing. But again, that's why I love this trailer. It creates a lot of ideas about who these actors are, especially Sasha Banks. So
Hmm.
because especially when there's a shot where she's looking at them, he looks back, and in the crowd, as people pass her, she disappears.
Yeah, just
So
the typical disappearing into the crowd thing, which never gets old for me. I always like, ooh.
yeah, so maybe she's like an inquisitor or like an assassin slash bounty hunter working for Moff Gideon because that's Giancarlo Esposito's character, which he is fantastic. He's basically becoming a pop culture icon now. Like besides Breaking Bad, with being in The Boys this season and being in Mandalorian last year and this year.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty crazy.
Dude, he's just cornering the market for villains in pop culture TV shows. Because he was a villain in Breaking Bad, and he's back in Better Call Saul, and then like you said, he's in The Boys and The Mandalorian, and he was also the voice of Lex Luthor in the animated Harley Quinn show. So I'm
I,
like, he's just the go-to villain.
I still need to watch that, but his voice I could see being a very good Lex Luthor voice.
It
And
works. It really works.
so that's my speculation. What do you think? Is there any other suggestions you think she could have played? With her black robe and orange face, or do you kind of, or are my suggestions good enough for you?
I mean, I have a feeling that she could be a Force user just because of the fact that she's wearing the cloak. We've generally in Star Wars, whenever someone's wearing those robes, it signifies that they're Force sensitive in some certain way, or it might be a fake out. We never know until we see the show. But that's at least that's what I'm thinking right now. She's probably some sort of Force user, or someone in hiding. Like you said, what was the Rebels character, Sabine? Like
Sabine Wren.
she very much could be Sabine, just so happens to be hiding in a in a cloak, I guess. And it's just one of those things to throw people off to predict, like I'm predicting that she's a Force user, and it's like nope, she's not a Force user.
That was one thing I was thinking, because Sabine Wren does have a bit of orange skin in the show, but at the same time, it wasn't alien orange. She's just maybe very tan. So,
Yeah,
so it is possible. Maybe they also, because trailers do that sometimes too, where they change the tints on certain scenes or characters to really maybe just throw you off. Like 'cause some trailers, they will mess with you, like, oh, this scene's gonna be in it. No, it's not. Or this is what happens. No, it doesn't, kind of thing. So
yeah, and that's been a typical thing for especially Marvel trailers, where they'll throw in things in there where you're like, this isn't in the movie, or this doesn't it's not exactly how it was in the film. Like characters being in certain trailer clips where you're like, when you're sitting down in the theater and it's like, oh, wasn't this person supposed to be there? Oh, I guess they got me.
exactly. I got really excited seeing X Wings in there, which is I'm curious too why he's running into X Wings. I guess under the New Republic, is he under maybe he's wanted by them as well. It's
Yeah,
or that'll be interesting.
yeah, that's one of the things I hope they touch on, because we really didn't get a clear picture of just how, I guess, the overall government or like the political standing in the Star Wars universe played out in between episode 6 and 7. Just because at the beginning of 7 we're like, oh, the New Republic's like, I guess, the new norm, and they just all get destroyed very quickly in the beginning. So you're like, oh, I guess we're back to the status quo as it was before. So that's one of the things I hope this season fleshes out a little more, just the idea of the New Republic and kind of what was going on in between episode 6 and episode 7.
Exactly, and I will touch upon where this show can go in just a second. The other thing was that I remember how you talked about the fight scene, which was one of my favorite scenes in the trailer, just because those guys have their guns pointed at him,
Yep.
and his little whispering birds, his sparrows, like basically lock and load on his gauntlet. And I love the child's reaction that he sees those and he just reaches for his button on his cradle and just kind of hides while the thing
Uh-huh.
flies up. That's one thing I also really like, because the baby wasn't completely unaware of things on last season, how he like stepped in and helped. But this one, it seems like he is growing a little more because he's kind of seeing his adopted father. Essentially, he's going to work and he knows, okay, I'm going to close this and just let it happen.
Yeah.
Just don't. It's kind of like the earmuffs thing in old school. Just, hey, buddy, can you earmuffs it for me?
Exactly. It just goes to show how the relationship has grown. Like now that the child knows the things that are about to go down and knows, okay, time to get into a little bit of safety and let dad handle all the work.
And in that scene with the whole, he's at like not an underground, but like a fighting match, like not a boxing match, but just a fight
Yeah.
essentially.
I mean, it looked like a boxing ring, but it's aliens and it's Star Wars, so it's probably another sport.
The reason why I thought that this is going to take place a lot on Tatooine is also because the people that were fighting were those pig guard creatures from Return of the Jedi. And I remember they hinted at concept art, like a maquette of one of those pig guards or something. I'm calling it a pig guard because it has a snout and it looks like a boar
Yeah, it's
with
like
a
a
body.
pig person.
Yeah, so that's also what I'm thinking. Like the supposedly they could be from Jabba's palace, like after Jabba died at Return of the Jedi. So that's what I'm thinking. It sounds like Tatooine is going to have a lot of conflict, or it could all just be from one episode. Who knows? I got excited seeing that. I was like, oh snap, that he is in there, and they look cool, like fighting for a second. And uh,
So, what do you think the chances are that everything that we saw in this trailer is from the first episode? Because I remember that's how the trailer was for the Mandalorian season 1, where we saw all these things and they all happened within like the first 1 or 2 episodes.
I don't remember that, but if that did since that did happen for the original trailer, it could be the same thing. Maybe this is all from the first episode or two, at least, just because we do see Gina Carano's character and what's Apollo Creed's name again? I'm sorry, Carl Weather. No, is that right?
Yeah,
Carl?
yeah, Carl Weathers.
Okay, because I thought that was his name in Predator. My God, I am terrible with actors sometimes.
He's just Apollo Creed. We can refer to him as such.
But he's a person, not a fictional character. Anyways, we do see Gina Carano and Carl Weathers' character come back. So I mean, we knew they were coming back anyways, especially from the stills they released before the trailer or after the trailer. I forgot when, but it's just one of those things. Like, okay, maybe that could be the end of episode one. And then also the scout troopers when they launch off a platform onto the ground. I thought that was really cool, especially when you see one of the troopers do like a motocross thing where he sticks his leg out to do a turn. I thought
Hmm.
that was a really cool scene for that.
And that one scene where it's like in the hallway and we see all these stormtroopers running. Could you tell what armor they were wearing? Was it like original trilogy, like episode 6 armor, or was it like first order armor that they were wearing? I don't know if you got a better look than I did.
No, I'm 90% sure it's still regular stormtrooper armor because then the scout troopers because if they still have scout trooper armor, given there weren't really any scout troopers in the new trilogy, I'm 1,000% sure it's still in that generation's armor era.
Hmm. That's
Just
another thing too. I wonder if they'll touch on how the first order starts to build back up.
that's one of the things I think it could go. What I'm also curious is because the whole time jump I think from Return of the Jedi to The Force Awakens is about 20 years or something, right?
Yeah, I think about like 30 years.
Or 30 years. Okay,
I think
well,
they said it to where it was like almost in real time. I think from when episode 6 originally came out and then 2015 when The Force Awakens dropped.
Well, depending on how this season goes, what I would like to see, I want to get your opinion as well. I mean, I kind of know you kind of said that you want to see this dive more into the transition from the New Republic and then maybe the rise of the First Order.
Yeah.
What I would like to see after this season, depending how it ends, I wouldn't mind seeing a time jump to after the new trilogy because I love The Last Jedi. I know that's a controversial opinion, but that's my
It's
opinion.
okay.
So
I
I stand
like it too.
Thank you. I appreciate the backup. But again, Force Awakens and Rise of the Skywalker, they feel pretty flat for me. But I still love the advancements in the technology from the original trilogy to that one in certain aspects and a more expansion of that. So
You
I
mean technology in terms of how it was made or just technology within the universe?
within the universe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, that totally works on both accounts because technology has gotten a lot better since the original trilogy. But I'm talking about within the Star Wars universe itself. I wouldn't mind seeing a time jump. Like, let's say if Mando does keep the child as a foundling and raises it in the ways of the Mandalorian, I would love to see them season 3 time jump where the child is older and maybe Mando is kind of getting older, maybe on the brink of retirement or just getting too old where he's kind of waiting to die and the child becomes a Mandalorian. I think that would be really cool to see, in my opinion.
That would be pretty interesting. I just wonder if maybe season 3 is a little too soon. I don't know how many seasons they have planned. Hopefully they do have an endpoint in mind because usually the shows that do are better than the shows that you can tell they just keep going on and on. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, that'd be something I would totally be down to watch, but I don't know if, if season 3 is a little too soon for that type of storyline. I'm not sure.
No, of course. Yeah, you're not wrong saying season 3. I'm really into the show. I'm super invested in it, and this trailer just made me even more excited for it. And it just when I see stuff like this and it gets me charged up, I just keep thinking, where else can it go? And
Uh-huh.
again, depending how this season is, whether it does better than the first season, maybe just as good, if not, maybe it lacks in certain areas. I would just think this is where it could go with that, or they could just keep doing a timeline within the original trilogy and the new trilogy, just so that way it's almost like Rogue One, where it's just an open and shut story in that point in time.
Because I don't think they've really said, right, like at what point it takes place in between the original and the sequel trilogy. I don't think they said like, oh, this show takes place a year or like a few days after episode 6. I don't think
I'm
they've really said, right?
I swear they said it was like 9 years, 10 years after the original.
Okay, maybe I just missed it then.
Something like that. I don't remember what they said in the show. I think they said at one point in the show, because Carl Weathers' character does make a point that the Empire died a certain amount of years ago, or maybe I just read it somewhere.
Uh-huh.
So there is
Well, I
no.
guess I'll just have to rewatch it then.
Oh, I'm
Just
definitely,
another good excuse.
I'm definitely rewatching. That's a given. I'm gonna rewatch the season before the next one just to relive everything freshly before the new one comes out, and all in time for Halloween too. So that'll be pretty
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, I haven't binged the show. I mean, I did watch it when it came out, but I'd never traded it as a binge show. Maybe I might do that this time. Just start watching all the episodes.
It wasn't released binge wise, right? It was every week it released.
Yeah, it was every week.
Yeah, but honestly, I did rewatch it again after that, and it works on either way. So you could rewatch it once a week, especially since there's no Star Wars movie coming out this year. You can do that. Start doing that now. Watch an
Yeah.
episode a week until the new one comes out, or
At
however
least
you
for a
do it.
while, right? I don't think there's a Star Wars movie announced for anything within the next 2 years.
Which is fine. I'm fine with the Mandalorian for now. In all honesty,
Yeah, I'm good.
yeah. But let's move on. Either way, I'm excited for Mandalorian season 2. It's safe to say Burn and Rye are, and
Yes.
my prediction rating right now is 5 out of 5. I can't wait for it. I need to see it right now.
Yeah, I'll give the teaser trailer a 5 out of 5 because, again, I'm excited.
Now, WandaVision, that does come out sometime this fall within the next month or two. We don't know when. I mean, I did see something that maybe it's coded for November. Don't quote me on that. November, I think December would make the most sense for this to release just because with Mandalorian coming out, they got to give it some time to put all the episodes on there and let the buzz kind of go into WandaVision. But
Yeah, I would imagine that if Disney's smart about it, they would want to release it the week after Mandalorian finishes. So at least that's what I'm predicting it's going to come out. So
oh,
probably sometime, like you said, December-ish. I think like just to keep subscribers on, it would be this business move to be like, okay, that show's over. Here's this show to stay on as a subscriber for.
that works too. Like I said, I would just think they would release it maybe a few weeks, a month after Mandalorian releases, just because they want the hype on Mandalorian and then the hype on WandaVision. So, but your way totally works too. That definitely makes sense. So if somebody doesn't want Mandalorian, but they want something Marvel, they could buy into that with the week after. So we'll see for that one, or it'll come out around the time like PlayStation 5 and Thanksgiving comes out. So maybe early, if not early November, late November, early December.
Right.
That's why I projected that. But this trailer was very interesting. Let me ask you, what did you think of the new WandaVision show?
It looks pretty good. I mean, from that other like mini teaser that Disney Plus had, where they were showing like different, like I guess clips from the shows that were coming up with, like our first look at the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then this one. I remember just seeing the imagery of this show in particular. I was like, what is going on here? This looks like trippy as heck. And the trailer that we got is trippy as heck.
Exactly. I'm getting the vibe this is gonna be such a psychedelic, like mind trip of a movie
Yeah,
of a
you know
show.
what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the show Legion. I don't know if you've actually watched that show yet, but it's just giving me that sort of trippy, weird, vibe from that show.
I did start watching it. I need to get back into it just because it's one of those things I really want to sit down and watch it, but then also I just feel unproductive, so I get distracted on something else. So I do want to get back into it. I could see that correlation why you're feeling the same vibe from it because Legion was a very mind centered show where you don't know what's real, what isn't half the time. And this one looks super, super just interesting. I can't put a specific word on it. I'm interested in it. The production looks great. Yeah, Disney looks again. They're holding no, money, no expense essentially. The John Hammond's route. No, spare no expense. And honestly, I got the vibe that it could also be a little suspenseful, scary at some certain points in the show.
Yeah, it looks like it can get pretty dark. Like just that facade of everything being perfect and them having this sort of like family life together. You can just tell that underneath that there's something really, really bad going on.
Yes, from what there is no real official synopsis for this show, but what I'm gathering from this first trailer was pretty great. I did like the trailer. It's just I'm not completely sold on it if it will be like the next best thing, but it still looks like a great addition to Marvel and that world. It
Yeah,
definitely
same.
looks like it's going to expand on Wanda's psyche and what almost dealing with the guilt of what happened in Infinity War and Endgame, which she has none of, but in the comics as well. For those of you who don't know, in the comic series, on the paper side of things, the Scarlet Witch does kill Vision, who is Paul Bettany's character in the movies, inadvertently, not on purpose, but she still kills him and is responsible for that. And she has a psychotic breakdown in which she can alter reality for her own gains. And we kind of would see those powers in Age of Ultron, where she was manipulating everybody in that scene in Africa.
Yeah, right.
So she may not be able to physically change it for everybody. She can still manipulate certain things. And again, her powers, we haven't really seen the extent of them. We saw a bit of that in Endgame where her rage is just concentrated on Thanos. And essentially she was going to tear him apart. So her and Captain Marvel are like tied right now for the strongest characters in the MCU. So that says enough, especially if you've seen Endgame. You know what I mean.
Yeah, they both go one on one with Thanos, and he just finds a way to get away out of it. But you can tell that they're both really powerful.
Yeah, so that's why I'm also excited, just because, again, with the scenes that we saw, how it goes from like a black and white 50s era and then to like a colorful 60s and 70s feel, and then it jumps into the 80s. It was almost like going from I Love Lucy to Stranger Things in an instant.
Yeah, it was like going to these different points in, television sitcoms where, like you said, it starts off with I Love Lucy and then starts to look more and more something like out of Modern Family or something like that.
And the cast for it too, like even though there was only a few people added to it that could really pick out, like the mom from that 70s show. I don't know that actress's name, but she's hilarious. The guy, the with the glasses and the bald head, he was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was DC Parlov in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where he wrote the Skyfire series.
Oh, right.
So I like seeing them in the show at one point. And then Catherine Hahn, who is just not only beautiful, but she is hilarious.
Yeah, really underrated.
And she's really, actually, she's kind of diving deep more into being dramatic shows. Like
Yeah.
she was headlining a show on HBO that just, I think it was dealing with divorce or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
And she was also in Transparent where she played like a more serious role.
I did not know that. But that works. So, and I'm gonna talk to you about that too, because this trailer I did look into it a little bit, like some not breakdowns, but I just looked a little more on who's playing what essentially, or who is what.
Hmm.
So let me ask you this before I say it. Who do you think Catherine Hahn is playing? Like, do you think she could be a figment of Wanda's imagination, or do you think she's a physical character in Wanda's mind?
Oh, man, I don't know. It's hard to tell at this point just because we really don't know like why the things in the show are happening. I do have a feeling that it's out of Wanda and Vision's control just because of that scene of them at the dinner table not really knowing how they got there or where they came from. So I think my initial prediction was that this was just Wanda's mind fracturing and just what we were seeing is her broken psyche. But with this trailer, it leads me to believe that there's something else that's working in the background, that someone else is influencing what we're seeing in the show. So I don't know. I have no idea who Catherine Hahn could be. Do you have an idea?
Would you like me to tell you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Real quick though, I didn't see it from your point of view that there could be somebody within that. Because again, ever since Endgame, I will spoil this a little bit. She was still pretty brokenhearted about her loss of Vision because he was the love of her life. They had a connection together. They were both created by stones, the Infinity Stones, and in Infinity War, really see their love blossoming, just like in the comic books. So the fact that she's dealing with this after that, I got the vibe that again she just can't handle the grief, and this is all revolving in her mind. Like this is what she wants reality to be. So that's what I'm getting. But you also make a very valid point that there could be somebody almost
Hmm.
controlling her because that part of the dinner table with DC Parlov, not his real name, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine character name, and the mom from that '70s show, and how they're saying, "How'd you get here?" And they both kind of were like, "What?"
Like I don't know. Like you can tell like they don't know, you know?
Yeah, exactly. They're both dumbfounded, like, "Wait, I really don't remember how we got here." And that's when it transitions into them changing it from black and white. So in the trailer, we do see her controlling things, like changing things herself. So that's why I'm getting the vibe it could also be in her
Yeah.
head. But
It could also be like a mixture of both, where it is her broken psyche and she's unaware of it.
yeah, and maybe somebody's using that to their advantage and just kind of keeping her contained in that. Who knows?
Hmm.
But what I found out today is that Catherine Hahn's character, somebody has been doing some deep dives into it, and they found out her character name is potentially Agnes, and that is a big hint to Agatha Harkness, which is one of the villains in Marvel, where she is like a witch, like a legitimate like centuries old witch, and she helps
Oh,
mentor Scarlet Witch and using her powers and stuff like that.
interesting. Because I know that scene in the car where she's sitting in the car, she has like a witch outfit, right? It looks like
She
it's like
it's a
Halloween night.
Halloween. Yeah, and she has the witch outfit, and that's when Vision taps her head saying, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Are you dead?" No. Why would you think that? Because you are. And then she starts laughing maniacally. It's like, oh wait, hold on
Hmm.
here. So again, that's one of those things. Like that's what I thought. Could these characters outside of Wanda and Vision, could they be figments of her imagination in her mind, or are they maybe parts of maybe a personality disorder where these are forming personalities like stages of grief and then just somebody's out there. But the whole Agatha that could be her mentor as a witch would make sense. I mean, we never heard about her in the other movies before, or at least not that I know of. So it would be interesting if she is her mentor or someone who's kind of learning to try and use Scarlet Witch for her own benefit. Because that's what
Yeah.
also in the comics does happen. And apparently in the scene in the trailer where they're holding like the babies together, because Vision and Scarlet Witch do have kids, but she ends up killing them in the books as well.
Oh no.
Supposedly, Agatha Harkness helped create those children with Wanda. So like
Okay.
like they're spawns of a demon thing. I don't know. I haven't. I don't
Oh
know a whole lot about
gosh.
the character. This is all just from me looking it up, but again, this I don't know where it's gonna go. It just was like this is like I said. That's where I got the vibe. It could be very suspenseful because we don't know what's real and what isn't. Or I mean, again, Vision is dead, so it's just like is he living on inside her, or is it just again figment of her imagination?
Yeah, that's one of the most exciting parts of it. They just because of who the character is, you really don't know if again this is like some sort of a hallucination or just a broken mindset, or is this actually really happening and someone else is, the puppet master. So, I mean, I'm really excited from what I've seen.
Me too. And the other thing I got that really made me question the trailer was who was the lady that was like flung through a scene out of like a wormhole and
Yeah, like
a bunch of
she got
agents around.
transported there or something, right? Like through a dimensional hole or something. I don't know.
My guess is that could be a character from Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, the daughter of
Oh, the daughter of Captain Marvel's friend, right?
yeah, where she does become a new hero as well. I forgot she becomes like another Captain Marvel like character. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that could be her because how she flung out of a wormhole and there's a bunch of uniforms and like all like government agents looking. That I think that could be a tie to like sword instead of shield. It's a new agency sword, especially after Spider-Man Far From Home, where it's revealed that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were the scrolls from Captain Marvel,
Yeah.
and Fury's in space somewhere. And I remember watching one of the Marvel Avengers shows and like years ago. It was on Netflix. I think it was Avengers Assembled, or I forgot what it was called. But that's where it says, yeah, Shield is dead. We're Sword now. So they're like a space. They're monitor the threats from space and on Earth kind of thing. So I wonder if I'm thinking maybe I'll hint at that too. Like it's another show expanding on the Marvel universe.
That could be interesting. So do you think like potentially the Monica Rambeau character would be recruited into Sword?
I think so. That would make a lot of sense. I mean, again, there's another thing that's interesting with this show is that this was supposed to come out after Falcon Winter Soldier and the Eternals movie around this time because I know Eternals is supposed to release soon.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I looked up is like, oh yeah, this is supposed to happen. So I wonder if this is going to contribute. Like the shows, I think will contribute to the greater movies in general, especially if this really is Wanda losing her mind. I think it'll contribute to her becoming a villain in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So
Oh, that would be interesting.
so I wonder how it's going to work into that, and then also it'll lead into Captain Marvel too, and all that stuff. Like I think these shows will increase that and make and tie the movies much more efficiently than the Netflix Marvel and Agents of Shield did.
Yeah, definitely. I think these shows, the WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I believe Loki, they've announced a number of shows at this point. But yeah, I do think that they will be a lot more finely integrated into the overall MCU, unlike, like you said, the Netflix shows and then the ABC shows.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. All I know is I'm excited for both of these shows coming out this holiday season. So it'll keep me intent and entertained this in the next coming months.
Yes, there will be no shortage of entertainment if they do release when they say they will, which hopefully they do, because it's streaming services. They're not going to the movie theaters or anything.
No, absolutely not. Again, I think it would be cool if these were could be released like drive-in theaters, like every week. Oh, you want
Oh,
to come to a drive instead of if you want to break out of being at home, maybe you just get distracted. Like go to a drive-in theater and let's watch it there. Or I mean, you could always get a projector and watch in your backyard and simulate that. But I'm scared. I'm scared of the raccoons and coyotes.
oh, yeah. No, you don't want to go out there and mess with those guys.
I'm scared of the raccoons more though. To be honest, they freak me out. I don't like the way they slink around, man.
It's because they have thumbs.
Well, that makes it even worse. But I just don't like the way they slink or they hiss.
Yeah, they could be pretty scary. I mean, I've never come into contact with a raccoon, but I could just imagine.
Oh, I have. They're scary. I was in my car, but it was still scary.
You baby.
I don't care. I'm being honest. So if that makes me a baby, then whatever. I guess call me the child. But that'll do it
This
for
is
me.
the way.
This is the way. But that'll do it for me, man. I just want to get those things off my chest. Anything you want to add for these trailers, maybe for everybody to get their minds going at all, or
Just a quick comment on the WandaVision trailer. I just like the little nod to their original suits, where it looks like it again. It looks like there's like a Halloween scene or something, and they have the OG outfit
yeah,
that we've seen in the comics.
she has her little headpiece, and he's kind of wearing a costume over his suit, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
So
uh,
yeah, just that little detail I really enjoyed.
again, I think if this may be it wasn't expected to be the first Marvel show, but right now it is. And again, what I love about these shows and Disney Plus is that their original content are really showing the power that Disney has when it comes to being like budgeting these shows and really the production value they could bring to this.
Oh yeah, these shows definitely have a budget to work with. It's not your typical of, ABC, NBC, CBS show that looks like they want to be high quality, but you can tell they're held back. This one, they're just like, I mean, just from The Mandalorian, it's a movie. It's like watching a movie, but a TV show.
I can't wait. That's all I got to say. But that'll do it for me, man. We'll talk again soon, especially because the boys. I can't stop talking about that. So I think we're gonna have to do some more discussions on that one as well.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Peace out, and everybody, like, subscribe. If you have any ideas on what the trailers brought to you, please share them with us, and we love to hear other people's opinions. What you thought of these trailers, whether you liked them, you hated them, you were disappointed by it, things you wanted to see. I know with the Mandalorian, there were plenty of things I wanted to see, but at the same time, it's better when it comes out and we're surprised by it. So
Yeah, give us your thoughts on what you think's gonna happen in the show, your predictions, your what was your favorite part of the trailer. We want to hear all that.
yes, please do, and we look forward to giving you guys more things to talk about. Just keep staying bodacious and keep on ranting.
Yeah, be good, be safe, everybody.
Yep, much love, and I'll talk to you later, my brother.
Adios, man.